Good evening to you all from Old Trafford as Manchester United return to Champions League action for the first time in a couple of seasons as they take on Basel here at Old Trafford in the group stages. Remember, United qualified by winning the Europa League last season. Now it's all about winning the Champions League, and it's a good record that Chelsea have got, that Jose Mourinho, I should say, has got in this competition. I mean, won it with Porto and won it with Real Madrid, I think, before that. He has a fantastic, well, Inter Milan rather, not Real Madrid. He never won it with Real Madrid, but a fantastic occasion here. Old Trafford expects. They're in the tunnel area at Old Trafford. Basel are the visitors to Old Trafford. Paul Pogba is the captain, incidentally, tonight. And we'll give you the two lineups just as soon as we get them here at Old Trafford. So settle back for the next couple of hours because we'll bring you full match commentary of Manchester United against Basel, and it's live! Good evening, everybody, from Old Trafford. And there's a marvellous atmosphere as the teams emerge in the tunnel and waiting to come out here to a vast Old Trafford crowd of around about 70-odd thousand. Of course, Celtic are in action tonight, so too are Chelsea in some of the other games. But our main focus is on Old Trafford tonight and a return to Europe's premier club competition for Manchester United as they take on Basel of Switzerland. Old Trafford absolutely ram-jam-packed as the teams have just come out to a rapturous applause here at Old Trafford. We saw Manchester United on Saturday really chuck away three big opportunities against Stoke City twice. Well, they trailed and then came back level, then went in trumped again, and then were pulled back by two goals from Maxim Choupo-Moting, but they don't have to face him or Stoke City tonight. It's Champions League football, and Old Trafford always responds on nights like this. Manchester United and the Champions League have always gone in hand, and tonight surely will be no exception. And we'll give you the two lineups just as we get them here at Old Trafford. Basel, for instance, are in the white shirts. A few of the names will not be familiar to you or I, but we'll certainly bundle through that as much as we can, and we'll go forward there as we look at the officials there. Manchester United being led tonight by Paul Pogba. David De Gea is getting the opportunity in goal. We'll confirm the Manchester United team, but what a moment for Paul Pogba. His £89 million return to Old Trafford. Romelu Lukaku does start. Well, let's give you that full Manchester United side then in just a second or two as the mascots disperse away and both teams will now shake hands with each other. Manchester United, of course, need to tell you, in the red shirt. So let's give you that Manchester United lineup, shall we? De Gea starts in goal for them, and then it's a back four of Young, Lindelof, Smalling, and I couldn't tell who that was, but it's certainly Pogba and Matic. And then you've got Juan Mata, Mkhitaryan and Pogba with Lukaku up front. And in fact, daylayed was the other defender, incidentally. The stream is a little bit patchy in places, so I apologise for that. So let's look at this Basel team. Just before we do give a check on the Basel team, let's have a look at the officials first of all. And they come from France. Freddy Bouquet of France, Bouquet I think they call it. They have four assistant referees. Of course, they've got two behind the goals with those so-called magic ones, and two normal officials with their flags, the two linesmen. So let's take a check on that Basel side if we can give you. Vacilic is the goalkeeper, and then it's a back three of well, I can't tell who that might be, but we'll confirm that in just a second. Lang, Well, as I say, we can't really show you too much there. Van Wolfswinkel, we know from his time at Norwich, and they play as a front three. So it's Nucci, Amakachi and Balanta. And, well, Lang is certainly there. Zaka, Zufi and Ribieros. And Ricky Van Wolfswinkel will lead the line up front. But we'll give you the full line-up in just a second or two. But there's Romelu Lukaku. High hopes expected of him tonight. He's hit the ground running. He scored another scoring goal. Scored one on Saturday in that match against Stoke City. Now it's all about Manchester United tonight, and it's Mkhitaryan to get us underway. Manchester United need, I tell you, in the red shirts, white shorts and white stockings, and away we go then. Should be a formality, and the bookmakers think so. Manchester United odds-on favourites to win this Champions League game. Manchester United attacking the goal to our right, so they're defending the Stretford end in the first half here. United in those red shirts, as I say, great European Cup pedigree, winners in 68, 1999, as part of that treble winning year, and the most recent was 9 years ago. As one matter plays that infield to Mkhitaryan playing it forward, and that's cut out again, and Basel get it away, but Smalling cuts that out for Manchester United. Now the ball forward, the long ball forward, looking for the run of Lukaku. Lukaku will get there. Lukaku trying to get the cross in. It comes off the defender, and it will be a corner to Manchester United in the opening exchanges of this match. And this really will be a real test of Basel's character, I suppose. Came off Suchi last, number 17. We'll give you the full lineups for Basel in just a second or two as that corner comes in towards the 6-yard area. Still might drop here for United, and off the line, and then the ball back in. I think the flag had gone up anyway for offside, so it wouldn't have counted even on the rebound anyway. There's the replay. The ball came back, and it was not goals by Lukaku. In fact, it was a good block there on the into the 6-yard box. Otherwise, I think that was flying in from Lukaku, right-footed shot. So just give you the full teams yet again in case you've joined us late. De Gea in goal, Young, Lindelof, Smalling and Blind for United. Pogba, Matic, Mata and Mkhitaryan, with Martial and Romelu Lukaku further forward. Substitutes for Manchester United: Lingard, Carrick, Rashford, Romero, Valencia, Fellaini and Darmian. I'll give you that. I'll give you the Basel team in just a second as they go on a run, but it's back to David De Gea this time. So let's look at that Basel team. Vakulinic is the goalkeeper, and Akanji, Suchi, Balanta and Lang. Xhaka, not Granit of course, but another Xhaka. Zufi, Rivieros Galliero, Stefan, Ricky Van Wolfswinkel, formerly of Norwich City, and Alalusi are the 11 for Basel tonight. And the referee, as I say, is from France. The substitutes, incidentally, for... You're not missing anything at the moment. I think it's just a corner at the moment. Zaid Gaba, Sayovi, Franson, Oberlin, Schmidt, Boer and Kala. The referee is Rudy Bouquet. I think that's how you pronounce it. From France, all the officials are French. As the corner comes in from the near side, flicked on there at the near post, comes out as far as the edge of the penalty area, and the shot back in is wide in the end. I think it was from Ashley Young, and a goal kick to Basel. Jose Mourinho looking to win this competition a third time, having won it previously, as I say, with Inter Milan and with Porto before that. So he's last won it in 2010. So he knows what it takes. Only two Manchester United coaches in history have won the European Cup. That was Sir Matt Budsby, of course, back in 1968, and Sir Alex Ferguson's won it twice, eclipsing Sir Matt's record. And Manchester United, obviously a great European pedigree, and it's good to see them back in Europe's Premier Club competition. A bit weird seeing Arsenal not in it this year. They are in Europa League action on Thursday, which will be a bit of a come down for them after nearly 20 years continuously in the Champions League. But that's the way of the world, I'm afraid. That's football for you, and it's Paul Pogba now on the halfway line to Ashley Young on the right hand side, playing up right back tonight. Ashley Young incidentally, and the ball again out to the far side. Still 0-0 as the ball comes forward once again, and the number 36 Akanji gets that away down the left hand side for Basel. And the team isn't very familiar. We've played about 4 minutes, just over, and it's still no goals. The coach, incidentally, is Raphael Wiki, and done okay. He's done a good job down there for the Swiss, and for Basel, he's a very good, astute, competent coach. I like to say coach in the Champions League, although I'm a very old-fashioned kind of football fan, and I like to say manager. Here's Ashley Young down the right-hand side, being tracked by 2 Basel defenders. That's the play back in field, and then the ball back there to number 2 Linderoth, who did really well, I thought. And now a chance was waiting dangerously inside the penalty area, but again the Basel defence did really well, but it's still coming back at Basel again as United pour forward. Here's Young on the right hand side, infield to Pogba, deep inside the Basel half, tries to play it infield towards Martial, but he's lost out that time, and away it goes. Matty in fact was the man he was trying to pick out. Now Basel trying to get something going over on the far side, but Smalling back there getting his ball back towards David De Gea, who's defending the Stretford end in this first period. Of course, this is the start of 6 Champions League games for both sides, for all sides in the group phases. Guaranteed to play 6 games in this Champions League round. And also we'll bring you up to date with all the other scores in the Champions League, and there's some Championship action taking place tonight, so we'll try and keep you up abreast of that. So far we have had a goal with Chelsea have scored against Karabag. That's 1-0. So here are the scores so far. Benfica 0, CSKA 0. Our game is 0-0 between United and Basel. Celtic and Paris Saint-Germain, that's another big game. That's 0-0 up at Celtic Park. Bayern Munich Anderlecht, that's goalless. Chelsea 1 up against Karabag. And Roma Atletico 0-0. Barcelona Juventus, another glamour game, 0-0. And Olympiacos 0, Sporting Lisbon 1. All current scores. We'll bring you up to date with the Championship in a few minutes from now, because here come Basel on the break, looking to go forward here, and a chance here now for Aloisi. I think that's how you pronounce it, as he goes towards the byline here. Remember, Basel attacking the Stretford end here at Old Trafford in the first half, and he still has possession, and he wins a corner, number 25 in fact, Rivieras. Well, it was the number 24 there being taken out by Young. That was Ellen Lucy. I think Young has got a ticking off from the referee. We've played just over 7 minutes. It's a corner. Panini says hello. Good evening to you, Panini. Thank you for joining this Champions League live commentary. And you're only welcoming, you're only entitled to join us, but please keep your messages nice and clean and no insults. I've had too many of those to last a lifetime on Saturday. Bit of pushing and jostling going on at the moment. It's a corner at the Stretford end to Basel from the left hand side. Plenty forward in white. Number 36 there, Akinji, is in there as this corner comes in from Zufi in towards the penalty area. But again, Manchester United doing some very good defensive work, getting it away. But not very far though. Still Basel have it deep inside the United territory. But the ball comes back, and now a chance here for Pogba, the captain, to come forward. Pogba on the right hand side, trots over the halfway line towards the right hand touchline, hugging that touchline basically, and is away from the defender, but not from the number 17 Suchi, who did a terrific covering job. But here's Pogba again, or rather Mata now cuts inside. Mata, the Spaniard, still looking very sharp. Pogba now in towards Young. Young playing at right back tonight. Infield again. United just playing the ball around patiently, not worrying too much about this Basel team. They are expected, I suppose, certainly by a lot of people to win steamroller Basel. They're at Old Trafford. Not many teams have come here when Mourinho's been in charge and won away from home, especially in Europe. That's how they won the Europa League last year. They had to do it all from the start, and my goodness, they did terrifically well to win that Europa competition. There's been no further scoring elsewhere in Europe tonight. We will bring you up to date with the Championship. Leeds and Cardiff are the only two teams left in that league. In fact, with unbeaten records. Well, what do those go tonight? Leeds, I think, play Birmingham at Elland Road. Birmingham having a little bit of a struggle at the moment. In fact, both Birmingham teams having a real struggle at the moment. Aston Villa, we saw on our opening match, and here's a chance now for United. As I said, Chelsea winning 1-0 in their match against Karabakh. Smalling is down injured on the floor, and as soon as we get a break in play, we will bring you all the Championship scores after 10 minutes. And we are live, and it's very much a one-man operation here tonight in Old Trafford. And I have to say, it's been a very quiet 10 minutes so far. Manchester United 0, Basel 0 in the Champions League. And a bit of news to bring you back from the management point of view since we were last with you. Ronald de Boer, as you may have heard, has lost his job, and Roy Hodgson was appointed manager of Crystal Palace. I think that's a very odd decision. QPR 0, Millwall 1 is a latest score in the London derby, Panini's telling me, but we'll confirm all that as soon as we get a break in play. As Manchester United now come marauding forward, but still Basel, plenty of players back behind that ball. United looking to pick a way through, as it were. Mkhitaryan now tries to feed it out towards that near side. Good one-touch football by United, crossing towards the 6-yard box and hooked away by the Basel defence, and it will be a throw to Manchester United. One matter's certainly starting to run things in that midfield area for United, with 11 minutes or so now gone. And still United on the attack, and they get a throw level with the edge of the penalty area here. Ashley Young to take on the near side. Young throws it in there towards Mkhitaryan. Mkhitaryan holding the ball off, finding Young. Young now has got an option here, and he has it in the shape of the defender, which is which was number 2, Lindelof. But Matic doing well. Still just to the right of the right hand side, deep inside Basel territory here, but they're passing the ball across from side to side, but there's no real penetration, if you see what I mean. And at the moment there doesn't seem to be any way through for United, but well, I think that's a bit harsh on Manchester United. I don't think they asked for the easy group. And Spurs, I think, will relish the glamour games, won't they? They get the big glamour matches at Wembley as well, so Wembley will be round jam-packed. I suppose you've got to come in the Champions League at some point, and they were gonna have a tough draw. One of the English teams were gonna have a tough draw, but nothing's guaranteed with Manchester United. Of course, they've been out. When they were last in the Champions League, they didn't qualify from the first group phase, so it's not guaranteed, Panini. I don't think the draw was rigged in any way, shape or form. You've just got to beat what's in front of you, I suppose. And United, I think it's good to see them back in Europe's Premier Club competition, I have to say, and it's good to have them back. Bayern Munich 1, Anderlecht 0 is a latest score from the Allianz Arena in Munich. Here's Lukaku holding the ball up well. Good football again from Manchester United inside the area. Ball back across and over the top from 6 yards by Mkhitaryan. That was the best chance in the match, 9-on. Again, lovely football down the right hand side from Manchester United, carving holes in that Basel defence. Lukaku ran onto it well, stayed on side, hooked the ball back, and Mkhitaryan just couldn't finish it off. In fact, one matter hooked the ball back, and in the end it was Mkhitaryan's header over the top, but sails over the crossbar to Vakulic's utter relief in an all-yellow goalkeeper's jersey tonight. So 1-0 to Bayern Munich. Sporting Lisbon have just gone 2 up. Chelsea winning 1-0 up. Benini's just told me now. Let's just break off and just see what's happening elsewhere. There's been some goal action in the Championship. We'll bring you up to date with that as there's a breaking play here. It's quite a wild sort of night under the floodlights at Old Trafford. A goal kick, in fact, to Manchester United. Let's just bring you up to date with the rest of the scores. Aston Villa 0, Middlesbrough 0, Leeds 0, Birmingham 0, Norwich 0, Burton 0, Preston 0, Cardiff 0, Queen's Park Rangers 0, Millwall 1, Brentford winning away at Sheffield United, Sunderland, who could do with a win themselves, against Nottingham Forest, Wolves 0, Bristol City 0, and Bolton Wanderers against, in fact, Sheffield United is the game that's taking place. Sheffield Wednesday 0, Brentford 1, I should apologise. Bolton Wanderers, Sheffield United is an 8 o'clock kick-off, and they've only played a minute, as United had another opportunity there. Romelu Lukaku hitting the right-footed shot, a left-footed shot straight at the goalkeeper, who fielded it no problem, and he's kicked the ball down the field straight away. 0-0 at this moment in time in this UEFA Champions League group game. Manchester United, of course, the first of 6. Top 2, of course, in these groups automatically qualify for the second round. Leaves us indefinitely as far as European competition is concerned. In League 2, I think, in League 1, sorry, Plymouth 0, Blackpool 1, and Rotherham 1. Into the 16th minute of the game, coming up towards 16 minutes gone here at Old Trafford, and it's 0-0 between Manchester United and Basel. And here come Basel on the break. Orient 0, Halifax 1. That's in the conference. Well, he's even stretching to conference scores now. So Halifax Town leading at Leyton Orient. What a fall from grace that is. The men from Brisbane Road, a Football League Cup for nearly 100 years, now battling as to even get out of the conference here, and as Lincoln proved for so many years, it was very tough to get out. Then he appointed Danny Cowley, and the rest was history. And Paul Pogba is limping a little bit there down on the field. Let's hope it's nothing too serious. With a man that cost Manchester United the best part of £90 million a year ago. And Pogba, I fear, is not going to be able to continue. He's set on his haunches. I think the referee might have to stop it here, and he is. And well, players come to a grinding halt, and it looks as if Paul Pogba's night is finished after just 17 minutes. And well, it was, I think he injured himself there in a challenge. It was a fair challenge. But I think Mourinho may have to look at his bench. He's got Lingard, Carrick, Rashford, Romero. Although Romero is irrelevant because he's a goalkeeper. Looks as if Fellaini may be being prepared. Fellaini, you can change the game. He's got Valencia as well, and Don Meehan, the defender. Paul Pogba is in a lot of trouble here, and the Manchester United physio is on the case, but at the moment it doesn't look very good for Manchester United's captain, as I think he's going to retire after just 18 minutes gone. Paul Pogba's night is well and truly up. He's been ushered across to the near side touchline. Jose Mourinho knows this is a very serious, absolute nil. Aldershot 1 is a scoreline in the National League. I should have said National League rather than the Conference. It stopped being the Conference many years ago. As Paul Pogba retreats to a sorry and really sorry sight. So Paul Pogba has been replaced after just 18 minutes. Has probably upset the flow because he was starting to go on top of that midfield, I felt, in the game. Rotherham 2, Walsall 0 is a score from League 1, but to Paul Pogba there, walking towards the tunnel here at Old Trafford, down to my left hand side, and he's in agony, and I'm just looking at him now. He's in absolute agony. United now have brought on a substitute. Fellaini's on. I don't know who the captain is. It certainly won't be Pogba anymore, as that ball gets chipped in towards the 6-yard area. Lukaku was there, then the chest back towards goalkeeper Vasinic. and everything's a-okay there in that department. And it was Suchi who coolly chested it back. In the Championship, Barnsley 1, Derby 1. A good match there taking place down at Oakwell, between two sides, separated by something like 30 odd miles or so. It'll be a lovely town. I've been there a few times before doing commentary workshops and the like, and it's a really nice place to go and visit, and plenty of history about the city as well. Brian Clough as well made a lot of history in Derby. Over 40 years ago, over 45 years since they won the league title. 20 minutes gone here in this Champions League game, and it's still 0-0 here in this Champions League group match between Manchester United and Basel. Group A of the Champions League, I should say. So this is so Group A, Manchester United still looking for that breakthrough. Bayern Munich are winning, Chelsea are winning, Sporting Lisbon are 2-0 up. And that's as far as we know as far as who's winning and losing. I think all the other games are still 0-0, including the one we're watching. And here come Basel now on the break in the white shirts. But again, United hunting in packs and doing really well. And the ball back to David De Gea, who's had precious really little to do in that goal. Hasn't really had a meaningful shot to save in this opening 20 minutes or so, as we rapidly come up towards the halfway mark of the first half. And I have to say it's gone rather rapidly here as Lindelof takes possession. But the big news here is Paul Pogba's been taken off with an injury. Ashley Young has replaced him. Paris Saint-Germain have gone in front at Celtic Park, so it could be a desperate night for Celtic up at Celtic Park. Daniel sounds the Celtic supporters. Celtic 0, PSG 1. And we'll get confirmation of who scored that, I'm sure, in due course. And plenty of talent on the show up there in Scotland tonight, the likes of Mbappe and Neymar. But it'll be a real lesson for Brendan Rodgers' side, who have been given a really tough group, really, as Manchester United find Lukaku. There's a chance inside the area, chance here for Mata to get the ball back. That shot is in the post, Lukaku's in the post, and then the rebound has somehow been scrambled away. Mkhitaryan was in there too. The ball ricocheted back off the post, and back Fractionist has got the ball. It came to Lukaku here. Lukaku runs round the area, and Mkhitaryan in fact hit the shot, or hit a close range shot. It bounced off the post, and then there was a couple of ricochets. Mata playing the ball in, Lukaku running past the defender here, Rivieros, and then the shot ricocheted off the post, and then Mkhitaryan had a second goal, and Vakulic somehow saved it. Northampton leading Portsmouth in League 1 by a goal to 0. Portsmouth just been promoted after about 4 years in League 2 after their fall from grace from the Premier League back in 2010. Fleetwood 1, Bury 0 in an all Northwest clash up at Highbury Stadium. So lots of goals going in around the country in the Football League. In the Champions League here in Group A, it's Manchester United 0, Basel 0. Halfway through the first half, we're into the coming up towards 23 minutes gone. 70% possession to Basel's 30, Manchester United, and they've made a whopping 184 passes as the ball comes in again from the left-hand side. United lays siege to this goal, but just can't break down. Smalling in with a good tackle there to deny Wolfswinkel. Good little tackle there on Wolfswinkel. Fellaini doesn't seem to upset the balance of United's play one jot. Fellaini though will be a difficult man to mark, because he's a tall lad. He's about 6'5", 6'6", Fellaini, and if they put high balls into him, he'll win at least 90% of them, I'm sure. Shot coming in to the left of the penalty area. Manchester United still going for the early goal here, the opening goal. Ball out towards the far side. Good first time cross from the right hand side, and again Basel just had enough in reserve to get it away, and up towards only as far as Smalling on halfway. Basel here having a real problem here, trying to get the ball out. And the ball over the top. That's a good run by Mkhitaryan. And on the left hand side, the ball deflected, And the ball's been kept in play by Young. Young now on the right, teases and turns a defender, but there was just too many white shirts there in the end. Matic might try a shot from 25 yards. Cuts in field again, and now finds Young. Young off the defender, still Young. He goes down, and the free kick has it been given? No, it's a goal kick. Goals to tell you about in the conference, or the National League rather, as we just see a replay of Mkhitaryan hitting the post. Bromley 1, Torquay United 0, and Dagenham Redbridge 1, Sutton United 0. Shrewsbury 1, Southend United 0 is a later score. I think that's in League 2. I might be corrected. I'm sure Panini will correct me on that. I think it's a League 2 match, that. Rotherham now in League 1. I've extended their lead to 3-0, so it looks a very, very tough night for Walsall. Top away trip there to the New York Stadium. I don't know what connection New York has got to do with Rotherham, but never mind. Back to this Group A Champions League game. Still no goals here, but there's been a goal in the other games involving British clubs. Chelsea winning in their match against Gladbach, and of course PSG leading at Celtic, the other British side involved tonight. Liverpool, Spurs and Manchester City kick off their campaigns tomorrow night. An unprecedented 6 British sides involved in this season's group stages of the UEFA Champions League. Surely has to be a record. 5 English teams and a Scottish team. As we see again, well, possible handball there against Fellaini. Certainly Balanta thought so, but it's a corner that Basel have won, and it's going to be number 7 Zufi to take. 2-4-5 white shirts inside the penalty areas. That ball is floated in there, and again United just about did enough and got it away, and now United could counter, but again good defending again by Jali. Still in the United half of the field, and still Basel coming at them here, and this is a real problem here for United. First goal also important tonight for United, and at the moment they haven't got it, and here they come now on the break with Mkhitaryan, and well, New York City fire hydrants were mainly brought for him. I wonder why. Meanwhile Mkhitaryan has gone down clutching his ankle, and United could ill afford another injury problem. And whilst that is taking place, let me bring you up to speed of what's been happening in the Championship. Aston Villa 0, Middlesbrough 0, Leeds United 1, Birmingham 0, Norwich 0, Burton 0, Preston 0, Cardiff 0, Queen's Park Rangers 0, Millwall 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0, Brentford 1, Sunderland Forest 0-0, Wolves Bristol City 0-0, and Bolton Wanderers Sheffield United 0-0. That was an 8 o'clock kickoff, however. In the Champions League, all 7:45 kickoffs, as we still have a break in play, which just, as Balanta gets a yellow card, will break off the latest Champions League scores in the next break of play, as United take the 3 kick, but it's ushered out by the defence of Basel, the Swiss side, looking to try and upset the apple cart here and cause a shock on opening night in this season's Champions League Group A. And this is the group we're concentrating on tonight, Tuesday night Champions League game. And of course our next commentary will come from Anfield on Saturday, Premier League action. It's a Clarets match live between Burnley and Liverpool from Anfield. Join us at 2:50 in the afternoon for that one. And of course we'll have a Sunday match as well from the Premier League, neither Arsenal versus Chelsea or Manchester United's clash with Everton. We haven't decided which one it may well be yet, but I'm sure it'll be a good fun nonetheless. And then it's the League Cup, and it'll be a League Cup tie on Wednesday. Fleetwood 2, Bury 0 is the scoreline in League 1. Here's Young on the near side for United, right hand side. Clipped the ball in, but the ball out of play. and a goal kick. So let's just bring you up to date with what's going on around Europe now. Benfica 0, CSKA Moscow 0. This is a Group A match. Manchester United and Basel still goalless, as you know. In Group B, Celtic 0, Paris 1. Bayern Munich 1, Anderlecht 0. Chelsea now have doubled their lead to 2-0 against Karabag. Roma and Atletico Madrid are drawing 0-0. Barcelona and Juventus amazingly still 0-0 for all that attacking intent from both sides, and still 2-0 against Olympiacos to Sporting Lisbon. That keeps you up to date with what's happening in the Champions League group phases tonight. Fleetwood, as I say, 2-0 up against Bury in League 2. League 1's, I apologise, and in the Championship, Wolves, who are up amongst the pace setters at the top of the league, are 1 up against Bristol City, who are hardly fancied maybe a dark horses for a playoff spot. Ball in from the right hand side, header one by Fellaini on the back post, but it's straight into the arms of Vakanic, and it's an easy take for the goalkeeper, all in yellow. Half an hour gone then at Old Trafford. Still Manchester United 0, Basel 0 in this Champions League Group A match. And here come Basel down the far side, and this looks promising as Rivieros made a good run in the National League. Would you believe it? Leyton Orient 0, Halifax 2, and Leyton Orient's fall from grace is absolutely continuing here. And dodgy back pass then, almost like Lee Jung-soo at Turf Moor the other day, gifting Chris Wood an opportunity that won Burnley the match and cost Ronald de Boer, I thought, wrongly his job, because I had to say on the day, and having been at the match myself, I thought Palace had played pretty well and were unlucky not to get at least a draw out of the game, if not a victory. They played really well. Woking 1, Solihull Moors 0 in the National Premier Division as United come forward again. Fellaini went down, but there's no penalty. Ball out of play for a United throw on the far side. It came off the defender. I think it might have been Sushi, and it's a throw to United. 31 minutes of the match gone. United looking for a breakthrough with Lindelof. Lindelof now for United. Still looking to pick a way through this stubborn Swiss defence. And free kick has been given against Manchester United by the French referee, and Basel can have a little bit of breathing space. And there's the coach, Wiki, who's done a remarkable tactical job so far. United kept them, they've rolled their luck a bit tonight, the Swiss. They've had the post hit. The goalkeeper's had to make 1 or 2 decent saves, but apart from that, they've hardly been tested too much, and that's testament to how they've gone about their business, I suppose. They've really hung on in there, and at the moment are giving themselves every opportunity. And so far so good for the Swiss side, but here's Mkhitaryan inside his own half, gets it over halfway line, and now a chance here for a break on here. That's, well, no foul there against Basel there. Looked a pretty meaty challenge, I have to say, but still the referee allowing it to go on, and Basel have it now on the break, and it's over to the number 25 on the near side, the ball towards the penalty area, and the header over the top, I think, and a real opportunity there for Basel to come charging forward or maraud forward, and really that was a great opportunity for them. They haven't had much really in terms of opportunities to really shine tonight, and unfortunately for them it just hasn't been their night in the rain. As Matic takes it forward, we have 1 or 2 technical problems again. It's absolutely raining at Old Trafford. 8 attempts to Basel's 2 in Manchester United's favour, as that ball comes in towards the 6-yard box, and it's headed over from Martial. Another opportunity goes begging for Manchester United. League 1, Fleetwood 2, Bury 1, Rotherham 4, Walsall 0, and Notts County 1 up against Swindon Town in the other game. And still no goals as we come up towards the last 10 minutes and what's been a highly competitive, highly riveting first half, but yet no goals to show for the efforts out there on the field. But I think it's going to be a question of time before something does come for Manchester United here, as they play the ball out to the right hand side. Young chests the ball, the captain now, who's taken over from Paul Pogba, still Young, round the corner, good crossing towards the end of the 6-yard box, and in comes Marian Fellaini, the substitute, and it is a breakthrough now for Manchester United with just over 10 minutes of the first half to go. A marvellous move there from United, and Young did absolutely brilliantly on the right hand side. Lovely crossing towards the 6-yard box, and Fellaini, the big 6'4" man, stoops to conquer, nods it past Vakanic. And Manchester United, on their return to Europe's Premier Club competition, have got the lead. And in fact, it could have been neither Martial or Fellaini, but Fellaini got the crucial touch. And Manchester United take the lead here with just over 10 minutes of the first half to go. Free header basically, got up between two Swiss defenders and buried it into the back of the net. And Manchester United have left off at Old Trafford. 1-0 they lead in Group A. And that is a big moment. Marian Fellaini's first goal in the Champions League this season. Marvellous moment for him, and a marvellous moment for Manchester United. One ahead with 35 minutes on the clock. Great moment there for United on their return to Europe's Premier Club competition. Great moment for them. In League One, Oxford 0, Bradford 1. Bradford one of the favourites for promotion, having missed out in the playoffs 2 years running. And I think they were harshly beaten by Millwall in the League One as well. Northampton 2, now Portsmouth 0. Not looking good for Portsmouth, is it? Another long trek up to Northampton. On a Tuesday night, it's not easy. Jose Mourinho is now down in his technical area. Not happy about something, but his team are one up, and but he's a perfectionist, is Mourinho. There's no doubt about that. But I'm sure he'll be pleased. Although not under ideal circumstances. But here comes Ball crossing from the right hand side towards Rivieros on the inside. But Ashley Young doing a terrific cover job, hooking it out for a throw to Ball on level with the edge of the area. Rivieros to take it, and he throws it back to number 17 Suchi. Plays that ball in, but again, good tackle again from. Or was it? No, Rivieros is... Now, what's happened here? Well, Young has gone down. Rivieros is certainly involved. Let's have a look at it again. The ball played back. Well, Young certainly gets the ball for me. And I think Rivieros is the guilty party because he's late in that challenge with Young. Young won the ball cleanly, in my opinion, but the referee's giving it the other way. I'm a bit surprised Young has been booked there. I've got to say, I wonder what you guys think of that one. It looks a very harsh decision on the face of it, because I think he got the ball cleanly, unless the studs were showing, and I think there were a few studs showing. Maybe that's the reason why the referee has blown up for the free kick, I suppose. Xhaka is going to take it, number 34, from the left hand side. So Ball, possibly rather fortuitously, have themselves a free kick. Now this would be a big blow for United if they were to lose a goal from a set play. And it's going to be Xhaka with his right foot, swings it into that penalty area, and the header is won, and in the end it's headed straight at David De Gea. It was towards the back post. It was a lovely free kick from Granit Xhaka, and De Gea was in two minds whether to stay or go, but in the end the header came in, and the goalkeeper fielded the ball no problem. But if that had been either side, I think it'd have been 1-1. Meanwhile, we've got Xhaka on the floor. And it's Hull kicking off here at Old Trafford. The goal has seemed to have livened things up. Lukaku was involved, I think. And, well, it was Lukaku making a break. And, well, it was an accidental collision, I think. No, nothing malicious in that at all. This was the opportunity for Bauer a second ago. It was a free header as well. United's marking was a little bit suspect there. In League 2, Crewe 0, Cambridge 1, and Yeovil Town, I'm afraid, are winning 1-0 against Morecambe. So any Morecambe fans, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. In League 2 as well, there's been a goal gone in. Plenty of goals going in and up and down the Football League. Newport have been the latest ones to score. One up at Rodney Parade against Cheltenham Town. And that is the situation. as we now come up towards the 40th minute of the game. Manchester United with a slender 1-goal lead given to them in the 35th minute, I should say, by Marion Fellaini. Liverpool are playing Seville, and Tottenham up against Dortmund at Wembley, and Man City, in fact, next tomorrow night go to Feyenoord. So there's plenty of English representation. Unfortunately, I will not be there tomorrow night to cover any of those games because I'll be doing my day job. And meanwhile here, it's Bale on the break. There's the shot deflected, and it will fall for Ashley Young just to get it away. The Manchester United captain hooks it well over halfway line, looking towards Lukaku. Lukaku will chase it, and in the end, number 23 Balanta will get it away. So Young has been booked for United, and Balanta has been booked for Bale. AFC Wimbledon 1, Gillingham 0, and that's not a good result for Panini's side. He's put an oh no against that, and well, you've got to feel sorry for people like Panini, whose team really does follow his team through thick and thin. And Gillingham, of course, a good little club down in Kent, and Brian Moore, the former commentator, was once on the board of directors down at Priestfield. Not a lot of people know that Brian Moore was a Gillingham fan. The late great Brian Moore, who 16 years ago this month passed away. And he relished, and he commentated on a few great European nights for Manchester United, the European Cup Winners' Cup 1991, Mark Hughes, and Mark Hughes with 2 goals that day in the European Cup Winners' Cup final against Barcelona, who had a very decent side. They went on to win the European Cup the next season as well, so they made up for that disappointment good and proper at Wembley against Sampdoria. But here at Old Trafford, it's Manchester United 1, Bale 0. That it's been heavy going. Here's a chance for Fellaini at the back post as the cross came in from the left-hand side. It was a long cross, about 40-50 yard ball. Fellaini met it with his head, tried to nod the ball back across the area. Free kick, in fact, has been given to Bale for a foul by Mkhitaryan, but the range of passing there was exemplary. Fellaini had ghosted in. I just wonder, because he had a little bit of space there, Fellaini, he could have probably chested it down and then tried to hit the goalkeeper, hit the ball across the goalkeeper. I think he would have had quite a bit of room and a bit of time there maybe to do that, but he tried to nod the ball back, which is probably not the most smartest thing he could have done. Free kick to Manchester United. We're now into the last 3 minutes, and then it'll be down to the lap of the gods with the stoppage time, and that'll be a minimum of, I suppose. Fellaini came on as a substitute in the 19th minute of the game, has scored in the 35th minute, and inevitably that substitution has paid off big time, although it will be unlucky as far as Paul Pogba is concerned, certainly from Manchester United's point of view. As we come up towards the business end of the first half, we'll take a 5-minute break. Catch your breaths after a magnificent first half here at Old Trafford, and Mkhitaryan running down the right hand side. Mkhitaryan trying to take on one player too many. The referee said get up. There was no foul, and then United again winning the ball quite well again through Lukaku, and plays a poor ball across to the centre, and he was trying to play towards the edge of the penalty area in fact, and caught it all wrong. Martial involved over there. The open goal stand is named after Brian Moore, although he's put Brain Moore. John Motson is Barnett. Alan Parry, of course, is a Wycombe Wanderers director, although he is from Liverpool. And Martin Tyler, of course, we all know is a big Woking fan. Alan Parry was a director at Wycombe Wanderers, although he's a Liverpool fan, though. And he's used because he comes from Merseyside, Mr. Parry. As Mkhitaryan doesn't keep that in play. But it's Brian, not you spelled it as brain. Oh, what a lovely. Well, there's only just Panini getting involved tonight. We want to see a few more people getting involved, talking about Manchester United here tonight. That's what this stream is about. It's about Group A of the Champions League. What's all the score for scores as they happen. 44 minutes gone. We'll bring you We'll bring you up to date with what's happening at half time, of course, after a 2 or 3 minute break. But on the moment in this Champions League Group A, it's been tough going for Manchester United, but they are a goal clear, given to them after 35 minutes from substitute Marian Fellaini, who replaced the injured Paul Pogba on 19 minutes. And we'll hope and, well, we'll try and find out what happens there. Not such good news, I'm afraid, for Accrington Stanley. They're looking to win 3 in a row. They started the evening in second place, trailing 1-0 to Grimsby, and Luton leading Port Vale at Kenilworth Road by a goal to 0 in both games taking place in League 2. Foul against Blady, 3 kick to Basel. 15 seconds of normal time to go in the first half, and then it'll be down to the fourth official from France to decide how long we're going to have for stoppages. 4 seconds in fact to go. Well, I thought that was a bit of an awful decision. Xhaka had gone in there for Mata. Well, yeah, he didn't get any of the ball, to be fair, so it was Mata who was penalised. Gateshead 1, Chester 0 in the National League. 2 added minutes incidentally here at Old Trafford, as Manchester United have some defending to do over on the far side and get a free kick, I think, over on the far side. Foul there given against one of the Basel players. Well, Wiki the coach will be a little bit disappointed if conceded, but he'll be encouraged that they've had some good moments in attack as well. They've had a couple of sighters, but so far it's Jose Mourinho, his opposite number, that is winning this game, to my left, or to my right rather, as De Gea takes the 3 kick to Manchester United. We played 1 minute of the 2 here. Accrington have equalised against Grimsby, and Chesterfield have taken the lead against Colchester at the Western Homes Community Stadium. We were there a few weeks ago for that terrific League Cup tie in the rain, and at the moment we've got some I think we've got some really good action to come. Then in the League Cup, of course, coming up, and then the FA Cup begins again in January, 3rd round day. Always a great occasion in the football calendar, but that's quite a little bit of way off yet. We're still in the middle of September. The qualifying round, so that's still going on, but there's a mistake here by the defender, Lindelof, which has given half a chance here. Right in the end of stoppage time, ball back across the 6-yard box. Fleetwood 2, Bury 2 is a scoreline. Charlton 0, Wigan 1. 2 former Premier League teams at it. We've played almost 2 minutes here, and there goes the half-time whistle at Old Trafford. So there we are. Marian Fellaini's goal after 35 minutes separates the two teams, and a pretty cagey but very riveting first half here at Old Trafford, as Manchester United, after a 18-month absence, return to Europe's Premier Club competition, and have started in the right way, although their performance has not been convincing, although they have lost Fellaini to an injury after 19 minutes. We won't know what the full extent of that injury is, but in the rain at Old Trafford, it's 1-0 to Manchester United. In the Championship, 2-1 to Derby now. Sheffield Wednesday have drawn level with Brentford. We're going to take a 5-minute break here at Old Trafford, and then we'll bring you up to date with all the scores around Championship and around Europe as well in the Champions League tonight. But at half time here, as Preston have taken the lead against Cardiff in the Championship, it's 1-0 to Manchester United in Group A of the Champions League. We'll be back in 5 minutes, and then it'll be the whole of the second half live between United and Basel. Don't go anywhere for that, and we'll bring you all the scores. Bristol City have just equalised against Wolves. So we'll take a 5-minute break. We'll see you then. Bye for now. Welcome back to Old Trafford, where we're watching Manchester United against Basel 1-0. Paul Pogba was injured after 18 minutes. Just a minute. Bonnie. Welcome back, as I say, to Old Trafford. Apologies for that. We're watching Manchester United against Basel. Manchester United 1-up. Paul Pogba, big story, being stretched, having to come off for an injury. Let's hope it's nothing too serious. And then Fellaini, the substitutes, with 10 minutes of the first half remaining, scored the opening goal, which gives us a half-time situation of 1-0 in this Champions League Group A game. And let's have a look at what's been happening around Europe. Benfica 0, CSKA Moscow 0 is the other game. Manchester United, as you know, are 1-0 up, thanks to Fellaini's goal. Celtic, however, are trailing 3-0 to PSG. Goals from Neymar after 19 minutes, and Mbappe after 30 minutes, and then a penalty from Edinson Cavani has put the French side very much in command there, I'm afraid, at Celtic Park. It's going to be a tough old night for Celtic, that is for sure, in this Champions League game. Bayern Munich 1, Anderlecht 0 is a half-time score. The goal scorer in that game is Lewandowski, with a 12-minute penalty in that particular fixture. Meanwhile, at Stamford Bridge, Chelsea gone 2-up against Karabag. Pedro after 5 minutes, and then Zappacosta after half an hour have given Chelsea a magnificent opportunity, getting 3 points on the board. Roma 0, Atletico Madrid 0 in the other game is goalless. In the final group, in Group D, Lionel Messi has just scored a late first half goal to give Barcelona the lead against Juventus. Barcelona winning that one by a goal to 0. And in the other match, Olympiacos 0, Sporting Lisbon 3. Goals from Dombia, Batala Martins and Borges Fernandes have given the Portuguese side a real magnificent half-time scoreline over in Greece. Right, to the Championship now, just quickly before the second half convenes at Old Trafford, and we have a half-time situation. Aston Villa 0, Middlesbrough 0. Leeds are winning 1-0 against Birmingham City. Leeds have a 1-2 unbeaten record so far going into tonight's fixtures. Salas with the only goal at the moment, against 1-0 against Harry Redknapp's men. Norwich 0, Burton Albion 0. Preston North End 1, Cardiff City 0. The goal from Harrop after 38 minutes, and Cardiff's unbeaten record is well and truly under threat there at Deepdale tonight. Meanwhile, Queen's Park Rangers in the London Derby trail Millwall, who scored after 6 minutes through McLaughlin, but Gregory has been sent off after 41 minutes. So Millwall down to 10 men in that game, but still winning 1-0 at the moment. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Brentford 1. Yanara's put the Londoners in front after 9 minutes, but Gary Hooper, right on the stroke of half-time, 1 minute into stoppage time, equalised for Sheffield Wednesday, and that's the way it is at the moment at Hillsborough. Sunderland 0, Forest 0, but there has been goals at Wolves. Bonanati scored the opening goal for Wolves after 28 minutes, but Aidan Flint had equalised for Bristol City after 43 minutes. So it's 1-1 down at Molineux, as we await for the sides to still come back at Old Trafford. And in a game that's still going on in the first half, incidentally, Carter Vickers has just scored for Sheffield United. Well, scored for Sheffield United after 33 minutes. That's still going on at the moment. That's still in progress in the first half. That, of course, was an 8 o'clock kickoff. And the rest were all half times. So we're all set to get underway in the second half. Just quickly give you the half timers from we'll quickly give you the half timers from Leagues 1 and 2. but we won't give you any scores. We'll just give you the scores. Peterborough 0, Milton Keynes Dons 0, Wimbledon 1, Gillingham 1, Wigan 1, Charlton 0, Fleetwood and Bury 2-2, Northampton 2, Portsmouth 0, Bradford winning at Oxford, Bristol Rovers Oldham 0-0, Plymouth 0, Blackpool 1, Rochdale 0, Doncaster 0, Rotherham 4, Walsall 0, Scunthorpe 0, Blackburn Rovers 0, and Shrewsbury 1, Southend 0. That's in League 1. In League 2, just again quickly run through the scores. Mansfield 0, Wickham 0, Accrington 1, Grimsby 1, Coventry 0, Carlisle 0, Crewe Alexandra 0, Cambridge United 1. That's a later score. That's now going into the last seconds of the first half. Rest of them all on whole half times. Forest Green 0, Lincoln City 0, 2 promoted sides from the conference last season up against each other tonight. Luton 1, Port Vale 0, Colchester 0, Chesterfield 1, Newport 1, Cheltenham 0, Notts County 1, Swindon 0, Stevenage 1, Crawley Town 0, Yeovil 1, Morecambe 0, and that's still going on. Barnet 0, Exeter City 0. So that brings you up to date with all the Champions League and EFL action at the moment as we await the second half at Old Trafford, as we await the teams to come out. And just one bit more housekeeping before we bring you the second half. Crystal Palace have appointed former England manager Roy Hodgson on as their new manager. He in fact replaces Ronald de Boer, who I thought was very harshly sacked, I have to say. And I think that deal was in place even before then. He's 70 years old, Roy Hodgson, and he has been given a 2-year deal, and he will take charge at Selhurst Park, and has managed Blackburn, Fulham, Liverpool and West Brom with varying success, but still I think that's a very surprise appointment with Roy Hodgson moving to Crystal Palace. And I think the way Ronald de Boer was treated at Selhurst Park was an absolute disgrace, and I think he should have been given time, I felt. And we watched the match as Basel, incidentally both teams are back out for the second half. Basel to get us underway, in fact, in the white shirts, but United were attacking the Stretford end, however. But just a little word or two as Basel get underway, incidentally attacking the goal to our right. Just to bring you up to speed with the events at Crystal Palace, I think it's been a disgrace. 4 games in charge. Yes, they haven't scored in any of the 4 games, but I still think it's a disgrace when a manager only gets 4 games and 77 days in charge of a football team. I think it's a sad time for football when that happens, and I think Steve Parish has pulled the trigger finger far too early. I agree with Chris Sutton. It is a joke what's going on at Palace, and I think firing somebody at this early stage, I mean, you can't judge someone on 4 games. I'm sorry, but you can't. And Palace made enough chances at Turf Moor on Sunday to have won the game, and probably won 3 or 4-1, and that's no lie, because I was there and I saw it for myself, and I have to say I was very, very surprised. It was very, very surprising when he went, despite the chances you're getting sacked in the morning. I didn't honestly think he'd be sacked, but I had a suspicion that Roy Hodgson was in line to replace him even before the Burnley game. Anyway, we're back underway here. You've missed nothing. Just to remind you the 2 lineups. De Gea in goal for United as they defend, do a bit of defending. Young, Lindelof, Smalling and Blind are the back 4. Fellaini has come on, of course. Matic and Mata. Then Mkhitaryan, Martial and Lukaku. The substitutes: Romero, the goalkeeper, Lingard, Carrick, Rashford, Valencia and Darmian. Those are the substitutes that remain. Crossing from the left hand side, that's going to go out for a goal kick. For Basel, they've got Vashanic in goal, then Ajandi, Suchi, Balanta, who's already been booked, then Lang number 5, then Xhaka, Zufi number 7, Rivieros 25, Stefan number 11, Ricky Van Wolfswinkel number 9, of course, and Alan Rusi up there as well. So the substitutes, just to remind you, for Basel are Saïd Gaba, Savi, Franson, Obehen, Schmidt, Boer and Kalla. They're the substitutes. The referee, of course, Crouquet from France. And Manchester United now, as I say, attacking the Stretford end. You've missed absolutely nothing. 3 minutes of the second half gone, and it's Manchester United now on halfway with Chris Smalling. Smalling out towards Blind on the near side this time. Smalling just keeping it going, and then plays Lindelof into play. And Mourinho really having to run the changes after that unfortunate injury for Paul Pogba. A ball intended for Mata down the right hand side didn't come to fruition, and it is out of play. But no substitutions were used or needed at the half-time interval. So it's as you were. That finished the first half here as Martial goes on the chase deep inside the Basel half, but Basel come away with it. And good skill there over the halfway line. Good play this now from Basel as they cut in from the right hand side, and a chance here for Van Wolfswinkel to probably get a cross in towards the penalty area. He does so. It's a deep cross, but it's gone out to play on the far side from Van Wolfswinkel, and it's a throw to Manchester United about 5 yards from the far corner quadrant by the United byline. No harm done so far for Manchester United, who deservedly lead in this Group A game, but it's not looking so good for Celtic. It's looking good for Chelsea. They were 2 up against Guadabag. As the ball gets hoisted in there towards the United penalty area again. Desperate defending by Mourinho's men there, because some high balls have been testing the United defence, and I think we can tell from Panini's message that Gillingham have equalised in the game at Wimbledon. So Gillingham are level at Wimbledon, 1-1 there at the moment. So 1-1 between Wimbledon and Gillingham. Wimbledon looking to move back to their spiritual home of Merton in south east London. I've purchased the old Wimbledon dog track to redevelop into their own stadium. Spiritual home, of course, for many years. Plough Lane. That wasn't a ground that was looked upon fondly by visiting supporters, but it played into Wimbledon's advantage. Helped them to win the FA Cup in 1988. And they upset the odds, of course, at Wembley against Liverpool, and John Aldridge's penalty save and Laurie Sanchez's 35th minute goal deciding things on that balmy sunny afternoon in May 88. But in September 2017, it's 1-0 to Manchester United in the Champions League Group A against Basel. United are bidding to win the European Cup for the 4th time. Liverpool have won it 5 times. Chelsea the once. Tottenham have never won it. Celtic won it once back in 1967, and Manchester City have never won it, although they have won a Cup Winners' Cup back in the late 60s, early 70s. 1969-70, I think they won the Cup Winners' Cup. Manchester City, as their number 24, Al-Azouz gets the ball, and the ball spread towards the right hand side. Van Wolfswinkel taking possession, playing a little dangerous ball there, but it was kept alive there. And then Akanji now takes possession here on the left hand side and on the right hand side, and then just plays it in field towards Suchi. It's a long ball forward down the middle, and a chance here now for Basel here to break with Stefan. Good cross by him in towards the 6-yard box, but again knocked away by Lindelof, and now actually Young to take it away from Manchester United. They're right back and taking over as captain. Fellaini has it 10 yards inside his own half. Fellaini inside the centre circle, goes over the halfway line, still through the centre. Fellaini and about 20 yards with the ball there, virtually unchallenged. Here's Blind now on the left hand side, in towards Martial. Good skills by Martial, cuts inside into the area, gets his shot in and turned away by Vakinic for a corner. And lovely control from Anthony Martial, cut inside from the left hand side. It was marvellously done, and as I see here, just twisted Xhaka one way and the other and forced the goalkeeper into making a save. I'll come back to Heinz 371 in a minute and respond to his messages as that ball comes in, and in at the back post comes Romelu Lukaku, and Manchester United have doubled their money here in the Champions League. And that will ease a few nerves in and around Old Trafford. 2-0 to United, and Lukaku gets his first ever Champions League goal for Manchester United. It was a short corner, ball back in there, blends cross, and another free header. The goalkeeper never moved, and Romelu Lukaku doubles United's lead here. And once again, United gets in above two defenders, and into the far corner it goes. The Stretford end goes absolutely wild with glee. 2-0 to Manchester United, and it's looking very ominous now for Basel. It's going to be a long old night for them. 2-0, and that is an amazing, I think that's 6 goals for the season in all competitions for Romelu Lukaku, and that is a marvellous achievement for him. But here come Basel now looking to hit back. 53 minutes that goal was timed at. So 2-0 to Manchester United. How am I doing? I'm doing fantastically well. In League One, Walsall have pulled 1 goal back against Rotherham, so 4-1 to Rotherham. Again in League One, Oldham, who are struggling to get some points on the board, where they might have a chance here at the Memorial Stadium. They've taken the lead there against Bristol Rovers. 1-0 they lead Oldham Athletic, former Premier League club incidentally. And Peterborough 1, MK Dons 0. In League 2, it's 2-1 to Grimsby at the Crown Ground, or the Wham Stadium if you want to call it, to Grimsby. Accrington trailing there, looking to win their 3rd successive match and keep the pressure up at the top of that table, with Exeter on top. They're the leaders. Meanwhile, Coventry winning at the Rico 1-0 against Carlisle. It's sad to see a club like Coventry City down in that basement league. It really is. Here's Stefan now for Basel. Cuts inside, gets the crossing. A good crossing there by Stefan, but again a good defensive work there by Lindelof, who's done really well. The 10 men of Millwall have gone 2 goals ahead. They're 2 up at QPR. And here and Holloway will be, well, if he's got any hair left, he'll be tearing it out, I would have assumed. Because his side are in big trouble. 2-0 to Millwall. And that is a big result for them. Meanwhile, Benfica leads CSKA in the other Champions League group game, which concerns that. And remember, Man City, Tottenham and Liverpool all start their Champions League campaigns tomorrow evening. Everton and Arsenal start their campaigns in the Europa League on Thursday. 2-0 to Manchester United in League One. Plymouth have drawn level at home to Blackpool at Home Park, so the Green Army will be quite happy about that one. 1-1 there at Home Park down in Durban. Meanwhile, in Manchester, it's 2-0. Goal scorers Fellaini in the first half, and Lukaku 6 minutes into the second. Oh, 8 minutes into the second half, I should say. Here's a chance now for Van Wolfswinkel. Chips the ball towards the back post. Chance here for Rivieros to get on the end of it. Crosses it ball back, and Fellaini will get there first, and coolly turns away on the edge of his own D. Did really well there for Fellaini. Tries to feed Matic, but Matic loses possession. Now a chance here for number 34, Xhaka, on the right hand side. Puts the ball back in field. Good control again. Big opportunity here for Basel. Shot comes in from about 20 yards over the top from Alamusi, and it's a goal kick to Manchester United, and that will suit them down to the ground. 2 goals clear. This was the free kick again, or the corner, shaken short, and then back to Blind. Put in a lovely ball, and the goalkeeper never moved for it because he knew Lukaku was superb with the header. So 2-0 to United, looking very, very good for 3 crucial Champions League points, with Benfica leading in the other group game. We put Manchester United top. Barcelona 2 up against Juventus at the Nou Camp. So they've added to that late goal at the end of the first half from Lionel Messi. We'll be with you until about 20 to 10 tonight with this broadcast, as we round up all the other scores from Champions League and around Europe. Manchester United top dogs in the Premier League, although they've been held, haven't lost a competitive match this season. They've won in the Champions League. Well, they're winning in the Champions League. They're going to win 5 out of a possible 6. Wolves taking the lead 2-1 against Bristol City as Stefan is brought down by Daylayed and a free kick to Basel midway inside the United half on the near side. A yellow card in fact for Daylayed and actually he's back online, a big Manchester United fan. Good evening, he says, and it's great to have Champions League football back at Old Trafford. Well, they're doing their team proud of their blend. Well, I think Stefan's probably conned the referee into giving a free kick and a yellow card. I think Daylayed's a little bit unfortunate there to get the yellow card, but I'll have a free kick midway inside the United half as that ball will be fed in to the penalty area, I would assume. Wouldn't have gone 2 up against Port Vale in League 2 incidentally as that ball gets sinned in, and again decent defending there for Manchester United. Daylayed doing a good covering job there and not allowing anything to happen there, and in fact it came off a Basel player last, so it will be a goal kick to Manchester United, who look to be fair good value for their 2-goal lead. United bidding to win the European Cup for a 4th time. Remember, Liverpool are in fact a free kick has been given because there was a high foot on Daylayed incidentally, so a free kick there. United, as I say, looking to win the European Cup for a 4th time. I mean, what is it, 68, 99 and 2008 on penalties. They've reached the final a couple of times. 2009 and 2011 when they lost both times to Lionel Messi and Barcelona. In the National League, Dover Athletic 0, Boreham Wood 1 and Macclesfield 1, AFC Fylde 1. So some great score goals going in the National League. I didn't have time to do all the National League scores because it was always going to be a Football League roundup, but we might just do the non-league scene at the end of the second half as the cross comes in towards the United area, and David De Gea takes the ball under no pressure as the initial cross was nodded up in the air by Smalling, but David De Gea was under no great pressure whatsoever, taking the ball quite comfortably, and in the end no trouble there for the Spanish goalkeeper, who was beaten twice. And it's the only time he's conceded in competitive football this season to Chupel Martin of Stoke City, and United now look to try and break with another one which would surely kill this game off. Northampton 2, Portsmouth 1. Portsmouth pulling a goal back in that game at Sixfields. Here's Blinn now on the near side for Manchester United. Puts the ball back inside to Smalling. Smalling turns and then finds Lindelof. Lindelof, plenty of time, 10 yards inside his own half, and finds Smalling, and they're just content to play it back to David De Gea and just try and kill the game off. We're coming up towards an hour god here at Old Trafford. And Manchester United's return to the big time in Europe, and De Gea's kick was a poor one, and it didn't get far enough, and there's a possible offside there, but the ball's been kept in by Alaricia, and he's taken on Matic here. Alaricia plays the ball back. Real danger zone here, real dangerous stuff there. United were playing. It was a dangerous game they played on the edge of their own penalty area. It was real chicken stuff there. United now on the break, and now Mkhitaryan has found Martial. Martial now running at the defenders. Martial still in all the way, and he's checked down. Surely that has to be a free kick. Lang has brought him down, and he gets the yellow card for it. There is the challenge once more. Lang now becomes the fifth name I think in the book now. Michael Lang, number 5. So we played an hour here at Old Trafford. Manchester United leading by a couple of goals to 0. Goals from Fellaini and And Lukaku, he's first in the Champions League for Manchester United. He's 6th goal in all competitions for him. As United look now to try and finish with a 3rd goal as that 3 kick comes in from Mkhitaryan towards the back post. And again they were unmarked and the header comes in and it's saved at the near post by the goalkeeper. And Vakalik did really well to prevent United going 3 up. Lukaku winning the header at the back post. But no way past the goalkeeper in the end. There's the 3 kick. Just curled in, and Lukaku again winning the header virtually unchallenged, headed it down, but it straight at the arms of the goal. Well, straight at the goalkeeper, who had to palm that away for a corner. And this is a United corner now, as we now go into the 64th minute of the game at Old Trafford. 3 goals would be an unassailable lead. 2-0 is always a dangerous one as that corner comes in towards the 6-yard area, headed only half away, and United do some very good defensive work in the end and get the ball back. So meanwhile, 2-0 Manchester United lead, Chelsea leading by the same scoreline. It's been a good match all round, really. Been a good night for English clubs. Not been such a good night for Celtic, of course. In League One, we've got Peterborough 2, MK Dons 0, and unfortunately, and I've got to, it kills me as a Burnley fan to say it, Scunthorpe 0, Blackburn 1. Why? Why oh why? It absolutely kills me to say that. But there you are. That's the way football is, I'm afraid. As Manchester United now look to try and deliver 3 crucial points, which would really put them towards the business end of things. And we've got problems with the stream at the moment, but we'll be back very. I'm sure we'll be back very soon with that. There's a substitution being made. We'll keep you up to date with that in just a second or two. Who do you hate more? I hate both of them really, but I think I'd probably hate Blackburn more, if I'm being totally honest. Meanwhile, Bulls have been pegged back again against Bristol City. It's 2-2 there at Molineux. And it's not been a very good. Well, Wolves are one of the pre-season favourites to go up into the Premiership. Well, they're not doing themselves much justice. Too many draws for everyone's liking at the moment, which is pretty not very good for their point of view. Just to confirm the substitution in. Incidentally, we got. Let me have a look. Yeovil 2, Morecambe 1. So Morecambe have pulled a goal back in that game. I haven't had an update yet on the substitutions, but we will bring it to you as soon as we've got it. I apologise for the thing in the background. Meanwhile, Bromley lead Torquay 2-1. We've just lost some. We've just lost some. We've just lost a few. Just lost a little bit of. What's the action at the moment? But we will get it back to you. I don't think you're missing anything at the moment in this game. There's no goals been scored anyway. So 1-1 is the score in Group A between Benfica and CSKA. That is a score, and that has been confirmed by Panini. Meanwhile, we've had 68 minutes of play at Old Trafford. And there we are. And we're just again it's very difficult to bring this to you live, and it's always difficult when you're bringing things live, I suppose. And meanwhile, we've got some substitutions to bring you up to date with. Jesse Lingard has just come on for Manchester United, and Ben Wolfswinkel has been replaced by Boa. And let's say Jesse Lingard has come on with 20 minutes to go. Fleetwood now leading Bury by 3 goals to 2. That's in League One. At the moment, we haven't bring you anything at the moment. It's gone a little bit quiet at Old Trafford so far. But hopefully, we'll get something. We'll get some action back for us to describe here as Matic plays a long ball out towards the far side. And Barnet 1, Exeter 0 now is the current scoreline. And in fact, it's gone out of play for a goal kick to Manchester United. It's always a frustration, I suppose, when you're trying to do stuff, and it's very difficult. So we are back with you live. Burnley by Manchester City tomorrow night, and Spurs play Dortmund, and of course we've got Liverpool against Seville in their return to Europe's Premier Club competition. We're now going to the last 20 minutes or so of the game. Meanwhile, Ebbsfleet 0, Aldershot 2, Barnet 1, Exeter 0. That's the latest score in League 2. So Aldershot winning 2-0 there. Although Panini has turned it another way, but I think that's a bit harsh. I think it's a sort of a rival. Barcelona have extended their lead to 3-0 against Juventus. So it looks like Barcelona are going to start with a win. And so too at the moment look like Manchester United doing the same thing as Mourinho's men now. 2 up and coasting. And just to confirm that Jesse Lingard substitution, he has replaced Anthony Martial. We yet to see Marcus Rashford come on yet, as Blin now has possession on the near side for Manchester United. Gets the ball in. Wenger stayed down here against Jesse Lingard. Lingard checks. Wants to try and play the ball into the penalty area if he can. Still has it, Lingard. Asks a bit of Blin there. Gets the ball into the penalty area. Lukaku was waiting. Then the ball sucked back on the edge of the penalty area. United keep possession well. Matic now to Fellaini. Fellaini plays it out towards the far side. And Mkhitaryan trying to get Young in behind this time. But no way through this time for Manchester United, who are in real cruise control here. Benfica 1, CSKA Moscow 2. That is a real turnaround, because Benfica had led in that game, but CSKA have taken the lead. We'll get that properly confirmed, but it looks as if the Russian side have turned it around there in Portugal. Marvellous result for them. And it has been confirmed, so it is Benfica 1, CSKA Moscow 2. So the Russian side in front there in Portugal. 2-1 2-0 here though, with 18 minutes plus stoppage time remaining at Old Trafford. And correction, Ebbsfleet 0, Aldershot 2. That was an A typo, he says. So even our human Vinny printer Panini is sort of giving us even a human Vinny printer like Panini can make the odd mistake or three. As Manchester United go in search of a third one, which would certainly kill the game off as a contest, that is for sure, as United look to steamroll the opposition. So we're coming up towards 73 minutes of the game gone, and I think he's the brother of Granit Xhaka who's in the crowd, the Arsenal man who starts his side's European campaign, as I say, on Thursday night in the Europa League, and that's a bit of a come down for Arsenal after 19 successive years playing Champions League football, but they were asking to miss out this time. Eastleigh 0, Maidstone 1 is a score in the National League. As the ball comes away again for Manchester United, they win the ball back illegally, says the French referee, and a free kick to Basel. And it looks as if Marcus Rashford's going to get it a quarter of an hour at the end of the game. And Rashford well, he burst onto the scene in a European competition 2 years ago, and it was in the Europa League. And they missed out, of course, over the two legs against Liverpool, who went on to the final, beat Borussia Dortmund in a never to be forgotten match at Anfield, as Stefan cuts in from the right hand side but runs into traffic in the form of daylayed, and whose father of course was the great Dutch defender Danny Blind. 74.5 minutes gone. Manchester United 2, Basel 0. Very comfortable home performance by Manchester United, and they're doing the business in front of a 75,000 capacity crowd, as Blind has possession for United, but in their own half here at Old Trafford. 2-0 they lead. The match, Champions League Live, our first match from the Champions League group phases. We've covered a Champions League match earlier on between Liverpool and Hoffenheim. That was a qualifying round. Bristol Rovers 0, Oldham Athletic 0, Charlton 0, Wigan 2. So some good results there for Wigan and for Oldham in League One. Two former Premier League clubs, of course, and of course Charlton are an ex-Premier League club, but Manchester United, who are definitely a Premier League and a Champions League club, have a free kick on the far side. Juan Mata is going to take it. There's a foul here on Ashley Young, just clipped in there on the far side, and it was Balanta, I should say, who's already been booked by. So a free kick now, with a quarter of an hour just under to go. A third one would kill this game off, as the free kick comes in from the right from Juan Mata, but it's plucked out of the air by Vakanic, and did really well, I thought, getting away. Some scorelines coming in. Barnsley 2, Derby 1, Sheffield Wednesday 2, Brentford 1, and Preston still winning against Cardiff. And if that stays the same, Cardiff's unbeaten record will be over, as Marcus Rashford now will come on. It'll be another substitution. In fact, we're going to see two substitutions, one from either side. First of all, we're going to see Rivieros withdrawn for Basel. Well, he's come back on the field. Chelsea are 5-0 up in their match against Karabag. Rivieros has come off, and Dimitri Oberlin has come on for Basel. Meanwhile, Marcus Rashford has come on the field. I don't know who he's replaced. We'll get this all sorted out in a second. Juan Mata is replaced, so it looks as if Lukaku will go all the way to the finish. So Rashford is on for United. Correction, Preston 2, Cardiff 0. And if that is to be that result, then Cardiff's unbeaten record is gone, and that will leave Leeds United as the only unbeaten side left in the Championship. They're winning, as things stand, I believe, 1-0 at Ellen Road against Birmingham City. And here come Basel now, looking to get one back on their own side, but the ball straight into the arms of David De Gea, who gathers it in no problem. And so Oberlin and Boer are on both. So Man United have used all three. Basel still one change left. Here's Rashford now cutting in from the left hand side. Still Marcus Rashford. By minute 2, Anderlecht 0 is the scoreline in Celtic's group. There's been no change, I don't think, in the Paris Celtic game. There were 3 up and coasting at half time. Free kick to Manchester United as Rashford cut in and certainly won the free kick there. Queen's Park Rangers have scored one back. Agaranja was the offender, by the way, with 12 minutes to go. Queen's Park Rangers have pulled one back. It's QPR 1, Millwall 2 now. Millwall playing with 10 men after Gregory was sent off. Free kick to Manchester United. Rashford to take it about 25-30 yards just to the left of centre here. Attacking the Stretford end. We saw a great goal early on in the Champions League from Trent Alexander-Arnold. How about Rashford matching it now? Rashford steps up, hits it right-footed, deflection, takes it into the Stretford end. I think it might have curled away rather than deflected. Did look as if it nicked, but it didn't, according to the French referee. And a goal kick to Basel. With 79 minutes almost gone. Almost completed here at Old Trafford. Northampton 3, Portsmouth 1, Plymouth 1, Blackpool 2. Both scores come from League 1. While it's still 2-0 here, and David De Gea having 1 or 2 troubles, kicking that out, and it's a throw, in fact, to Manchester United on the almost on the edge of the on their own penalty area. There we are, almost over with their own penalty area, I should say. Blaine with the throw then. 79, 11 and a half minutes to go plus stoppage time. Forest Green Rovers 0, Lincoln 1 in League 2. That's the battle of the promoted sides. Lincoln went up as champions on Forest Green, who went up as playoff winners, beating Tranmere in that playoff final at Wembley back in May. Team from the Cotswolds, but they're losing to Danny and Nicky Cowley's Lincoln City, who have become famous for that tremendous run last season in that quarter-finals of the FA Cup. They knocked out Brighton, they knocked out Ipswich, they knocked out my club in the 5th round, and then went to Arsenal and gave a good account of 0 at the Emirates. But I mean, they created becoming the first non-league team to reach the quarterfinals of the FA Cup for the first time in over 100 years. 104 years since the last time a non-league team got to that stage of the FA Cup. Leyton Orient 0, Halifax 3. So humiliation completed tonight at Brisbane Road for Leyton Orient, and Woking and Celio drawing 1-1 at the moment. Here's Marcus Rashford on the left hand side, and flicks it back to Blind. Blind plays it back to halfway, and Chris Smalling takes possession. Inside the last 10 minutes of the second half now, and Manchester United looking very comfortable and quite easy winners, I have to say, as Matic takes possession now deep inside his own half, and then plays a loose ball, and a chance here now for Aloysius to take the opportunity, but ball safely back by Fellaini back to David De Gea, who's not had too much to do in terms of make big saves in the game. What he's had to do, whether it's to catch balls or kick them out, and kick balls out of play, he's done with that great Spanish efficiency, and he's looks as if it's going to be a 4th clean sheet in 5 competitive games for him. He's only shipped 2 goals this season. They were both to Maxime Choupo-Moting, and Mkhitaryan has slipped. Yeovil 2, Morecambe 2. And it's all happening here. Zaka has been booked. Brother Granite. Moy takes possession, plays the ball back. And then the ball knocked away. And back again. Rochdale 0, Doncaster 1 is a scoreline. And still United's looking to try and kill this game off. And the free kick has been given to United. Third goal has gone in. Rashford has just scored. We just lost sound for a moment, but Rashford has knocked it in for 3. And Manchester United are on course. Chelsea have gone 6-0 up in their game, but Rashford has just made it 3. We're just off air for a second or two then. The sound just went on the mics, but we've got it back just in the nick of time. The ball round the right-hand side. There's the 1-2. The ball knocked back there by Lukaku, and in comes Marcus Rashford to get his first ever Champions League goal. Fellaini's cross back, gets a little deflection which takes it away from Mkhitaryan, but falls very nicely for Marcus Rashford with 6 minutes remaining, makes it 3-0, and Basel are sunk. He hits it into the ground, but it goes in the net. 3-0, and very, very ominous now for Basel, that is for sure. Great moment for Marcus Rashford, great moment for Manchester United. They're going to start the Champions League with an absolute bang. 3-0, Chelsea have won 6-0 against Qarabag. And Bristol Rovers 1, Oldham 2 is the latest score down in the West Country. But in deepest Salford, in deepest Manchester, it's Manchester United 3, Basel 0. And it looks like a good start as Basel now go on the chase, and it's Bua now in behind the defence. Bua now takes it back and then plays the ball back across the face. 5 minutes left in this Champions League game. And Ashley goes and replies and says, hope a performance like this silences some Fellaini doubters, doesn't deserve the flack he gets. Well, I have to agree, Fellaini has made a lot of difference, even despite the fact that it was at Paul Pogba's misfortune. But United have put in a very good team performance. I have to say they've played really well as a team tonight, United, and that's what's been very impressive from goalkeeper onwards. As that ball gets in and it's just wide. Wow, what an opportunity there inside the 6-yard box. It was Bua that went inside the 6-yard box. It was a lovely cross there by the number 24 Aloysius, and the substitute within an ace there of probably trying to pull one back there for Basel, and he came so close. 4 minutes to go, and it would have been no more than what scant consolation in the end. As that cross came in, well, it was close for the offside as well, but there you go. Meanwhile, there's been some big goings on here in the Championship, because Wolves, who had gone 1-0 and 2-1 up, are now trailing 3-2 to Bristol City. What a result that is for Bristol City. And the boos are probably now ringing around the Stadium of Light, because it's getting worse for Simon Grace's men. They trail Nottingham Forest by 1-0. What an upset that is going to be at the Stadium of Light. Sunderland 0, Nottingham Forest 1. Not great times if you're a Sunderland fan at the moment. And a lot of people will be disappointed, will be disgruntled faces on Wearside now with this result. Coventry 2, Carlisle 0. 3 minutes of the second half remaining here at Old Trafford in the UEFA Champions League. Ball back to Vakanic, who gets the ball away, but then the ball given away So 3-0 to Manchester United, who look in really red hot form. What a way to start the Champions League. And there we go again down the side, left hand side. Also respect to Panini, of course. You've got to give him a bit of respect. Great job providing us with the scores, and another goal for Woking there. 2-1. They lead Solihull Moors. That's United come in search of a third one again. That would really wrap the game up good and proper. This would put the icing on the cherry on the cake. It's given away once again. Basel just getting it away, but it's been a really highly professional performance from Manchester United, who have gone out there, done the business, and have performed admirably well at Old Trafford tonight. Just to keep you abreast of what's going to happen Saturday afternoon, we've got Burnley and Liverpool at Anfield. That will be a Clarence match live for you on Saturday, and of course we'll have another Premier League game on the Sunday for you, so a double header from the Premier League this weekend. And so our live football starts to take shape throughout the season. And so we look to cover more games than ever before, and of course there's the World Cup at the end of the year next summer, as we're now into the last 90 seconds, in fact in the last 60 seconds of normal time. And a terrific ending at Molineux. It looks as if Bristol City were going to get 3 points, but Wolves have saved themselves right at the 3-3 now at Molineux between Wolves and Bristol City in what's been a remarkable game. Cardiff are going to lose their unbeaten record, which means there's only going to be Leeds left now with an unbeaten record in the Championship. As Basel come forward, shot comes in from about 30 yards out, and he's gone way over the top, whistled over the bar, and it's Alarousi who's pulled it away, and PSG have gone 4-0 up now at Celtic Park, and showing no way back for them. The Basel supporters still making a lot of noise, but they have a long trip back to Switzerland tonight. The team have not just been beaten, they've been battered 3-0 by Manchester United. We're now into stoppage time at the end of the game, and we'll get an indication. There's only going to be 2 added minutes, which will put Basel well and truly out of their misery. So 3-0. And it looks onerous to them. Yeah, just lost sound there for a second or two. It's been one of those nights where the rain has intervened with everything, but we're now played the 1 minute of the 2, and it looks as if Manchester United are going to take maximum points from their first games. So Alex Ferguson in the crowd, he'll have been very impressed by what's gone on tonight, and he's even given a wave to the supporters. League 1, Bristol Rovers 2, Oldham 3, Charlton 0, Wigan 3, and Rotherham now 5-1 up against poor old Walsall, who don't know what day it is, as United looking search for a 4th one, which would really put the cherry on the icing on the cake across the face of the goal, but I think the flag had gone up anyway for offside. Mkhitaryan playing that ball in, and we're now coming up towards the last 30 seconds of the match. 3-0 to Manchester United, and well, it's been a terrific performance from start to finish by the Europa League winners. Gateshead 2, Chester City 2, Bromley 3, Torquay 1, so not a good result for Torquay, who are struggling at the wrong end of the table in the National League, as the final whistle goes at Old Trafford, and Manchester United kick off their Champions League campaign with a very, very convincing 3-0 victory over Basel. A very good performance, goals from Fellaini and one from Lukaku in the second half, and then Marcus Rashford towards the end, making it absolute 3-0 clean sheet. Fourth clean sheet in five competitive games this season. A real testament. Just 2 goals conceded in at the moment. QPR have just drawn 2-2 with Millwall, but here at Old Trafford it's finished 2-2. And a good performance, good team performance all round for Manchester United, and very much deserved 3-0 victors. So that's how it's finished at Old Trafford. Right, before we go leave you tonight, we're going to bring you all the scores as they now come in. Plymouth 1, Blackpool 3. Good result that for Blackpool. So let's see what's been happening around Europe tonight. Benfica 1, CSKA Moscow 2. Goals in that game come from Stefanovic after 50 minutes, and then Vaccinio with a penalty, and Zamaletiov with the winning goal there has won the game. Manchester United, as you know, 3-0 up. They're still playing up at Celtic Park, where Paris Saint-Germain are now 5-0 up. Goals from Neymar after 19 minutes, Mbappe after 34 minutes, 2 goals from Cavani, a penalty and another one after 85 minutes. Before that, Lustig had put through his own net after 83 minutes. And that will now be surely a full-time score without any shadow of a doubt. Dagenham and Redbridge 1, Sutton United 2. That's a National League scoreline. Bayern Munich 3, Anderlecht 0. That's a full-time result. That's also in Celtic's group, incidentally. Goals in that game from Lewandowski from a 12-minute penalty. Thiago after 65, and Kimmich right on the stroke of full-time. Coombs was sent off, incidentally, for Anderlecht. So not a good start for them in Group B. As for Group C, which is Chelsea's group, it's been a good night for Chelsea. 6-0 winners over FK Karabag. It was an expected win, I suppose. Pedro scored after 5 minutes. Zappacosta scored the second after 30. In the second half, 10 minutes into the second half, Cesar Azpilicueta made it 3. Bakayoko made it 4 after 71. And then 2 goals in 6 minutes from Michy Batshuayi. The first one after 76 minutes, and the second one after 82. As seen Chelsea 6-0 over the line in that game. So a great result there for Chelsea. 6-0 winners, and will top the group outright, because Roma and Atletico Madrid are drawn 0-0 in Rome, so no goals in that game either. So Chelsea will be out and out group winners now, as Leeds have just scored against Birmingham there at the moment, so they will be the only team left with an unbeaten record. In the other games, Group D, to finish off the Champions League action, 2 goals from Lionel Messi and 1 from Rakitic confined Barcelona to win 3-0 against Juventus, and that has been confirmed, I think, as a full-time score. Celtic 0, PSG 5. But in Group D, Champions League, Barcelona 3, Juventus 0. 2 from Messi, 1 from Rakitic, in between the double from Messi, and Barcelona looking to win another European Cup after starting off in the grand manner. And a terrific game in Greece there between Olympiacos and Sporting Lisbon. Dumbia put Lisbon ahead after just 2 minutes, and then Bafta and Martins had doubled the lead after 13. And then Fernandez scored 2 minutes before the break after 43, and then 2 goals from Pardo right at the end of the game, one after 89 minutes, and then 3 minutes into stoppage time, with virtually the last kick of the game there, has put some respectability back into the Greek side. But it's still 3 points to Sporting Lisbon, and they now are joint up with Barcelona at the end of that group. So let's have a look at what's been going on around the country, because we've got some of course we have championship action, and Leeds United. We'll bring you the tables in just a minute. Let's bring you the results from tonight. There's still some latest scores going on, and they need to kick off, of course, between Bolton Wanderers and Sheffield United. But Aston Villa have drawn 0-0 against Middlesbrough, so their season just hasn't got up and running. Too many draws, maybe, especially at Villa Park. Leeds United 2, Birmingham City 0. Leeds will go top. Goals from South and Dallas at the end have confined Birmingham to defeat Norwich City 0, Burton Albion 0. It's finished at Carrow Road, so another disappointing night for Norwich City. For Cardiff, their unbeaten record has gone in the 5th game of the season. Goals from Harrop, Maguire and Brown after 38, 70 and 78 minutes respectively. I've seen Preston North End put a real spoke in Cardiff City's early promotion chances. A terrific London derby down at Loftus Road, where it's still going on. In fact, we're into the 5th minute of stoppage time. It's currently 2-2 between QPR and Millwall. McLaughlin had put Millwall in front. Then Gregory got himself sent off after 41 minutes. Then Wallace doubled Millwall's lead 5 minutes into the second half. But Lugugu after 73 minutes, and Smith with 5 minutes to go could well save a point there for the 11 men of QPR. At the moment, they're still playing in that game. So too at Hillsborough, where Sheffield Wednesday are currently leading 2-1. Yamaris have put Brentford ahead, but goals from Gary Hooper run on the stroke of half time, and Burnley's former player Ross Wallace, with 20 minutes to go, has put Wednesday in front. They are playing into the 9th minute of time added on there at Hillsborough. Sheffield Wednesday 2, Brentford 1, and Queen's Park Rangers, incidentally, and Millwall have finished up as a 2-2 draw. Not such a good night, I'm afraid, for Sunderland, because a late goal from Murphy has confined Sunderland to another defeat there at the Stadium of Light. Not great times, I'm afraid, if you're a Sunderland fan, because Nottingham Forest have won in really good fashion there and keep their playoff push going even at this early stage. Wolves 3, Bristol City 3. It's finished there. What a game that was at Molineux. Battatini had put Wolves ahead, and then Flint equalised after 43 minutes. Then Jota, the new signing from Brentford, put Wolves 2-1 up. Then Dedial came back for Bristol City from the penalty spot. Then Reed put Bristol City in front with 7 minutes to go, and then Bath with a late equaliser with 4 minutes to go. I've saved Wolverhampton Wanderers a point there in that game. And finally, a later score: Bolton Wanderers 0, Sheffield United 1. There's 4 minutes to go in that game. They're still playing, incidentally, in that match at Sheffield Wednesday. But at the moment, it's 1-0 to Sheffield United. The goal scorer, incidentally, is Carter Vickers, and there's about 2 minutes of that game to go. So what does that mean now for the league table? Let's have a look at what has happened in that. We're still waiting for the tables to actually upload properly, but I'm certain that we'll bring you a table before long here. We will try and get an interview from Jose Mourinho before the end of the night. But that is the. So let's have a look at the up-to-date table as things stand. Now Sheffield United and Brentford are still playing. That is absolutely. So we are back. Let's just see if there's any interviews before we bring you the rest of the scores before we leave here. We'll try and hear from Jose Mourinho before the end of the game, and if we can't hear from him, then we will. I'm sure he's always good value for an interview or three, Mr. Mourinho. And so we're just waiting. Still playing at Hillsborough. Sheffield Wednesday 2, Brentford 1. They're now into the 12-minute of injury time in that game. What a performance this has been. So then into the 12-minute there. Sheffield United still winning. All the other games are finished as things stand. We will try and bring you an up-to-date league table as things stand at the moment. But we'll stick with AC Wimbledon 1, Gillingham 1. They are 24th now in the table. I think that's League 2. That Panini's. We'll get to League 1s and 2 before we leave you tonight, and the National League, of course. The next games, incidentally, for Manchester United is away in Moscow in about a fortnight's time or 3 weeks' time. They are joint top with CSK with 3 points each. So let's get some reaction, I think, from Old Trafford. I see who it is. It's Romelu Lukaku and Marian Fellaini. Let's hear from them now.
It was an important game for us. First game in the Champions League. It's always good to win.
Probably you wanted to play in the Champions League. You know, you've scored your first goal in the Champions League. A good night for you.
Yeah, I'm just delighted with the win for the team. We wanted to win after the little slip up at Stoke City. We needed to bounce back and win today. The football was not great, but we won. That's the most important thing.
Well, 6 goals already. Do you feel this side is creating chances for you? You're going to enjoy yourself?
No, we're working hard. Everybody's scoring, everybody offensively. So we play really well defensively. We're not conceding, so it's still a work in progress, but we're doing well now.
Speaking of important goals, Marwan, you've scored plenty for this club. You've been praised by the manager as being more important than people imagine. How does that make you feel when he says these things?
Feel good. You know what I can do. You know my quality. You count on me. So that's important for me. And when I'm on the pitch, I give everything.
Do you feel like the whole squad's going to have to be involved this season, Romelu, for you to succeed?
Yeah, of course, everybody needs to be fit. You know, everybody needs to take the chance. I think at the minute everybody's doing well, so we need to keep working hard as a team.
Thank you, gentlemen. Well done.
Well, there we are. That's the Manchester United view of things. That's Romelu Lukaku and Marian Fellaini there. They're still playing on. I think it's. So let's look at the table. We're still playing at. I think they're still playing on at Hillsborough. No, I think they're finished now. I think that's a full-time score. No, they're into the 15th minute of second stoppage time, so they're still playing on there. So let's look at the league table very quickly. So Leeds are top now with Cardiff in second place. Sheffield United, if they hang on, will move up to third, with Wolves dropping to fourth. Preston are up to fifth, with Sheffield Wednesday completing the playoff picture. Then come Ipswich, Notts Forest, Middlesbrough, QPR, Derby County, Bristol City, Norwich, Fulham, Hull, Barnsley, Reading, Aston Villa, Millwall, Sunderland, Burton and Birmingham City in the bottom 3, along with Brentford and Bolton. It's not a good start for Harry Redknapp's team. So that is the picture in the Championship tonight. Meanwhile, we'll check League One out in just a second or two. We will try and hear from Jose Mourinho in a couple of minutes. We'll give you the scores now from Leagues 1 and 2, and then try and hear from Mourinho before the night's out. Peterborough 2, so this is League 1. I'm going to run them right from the top to the bottom without naming any scorers. Peterborough 2, Milton Keynes 0, Wimbledon, Gillingham 1-1. So Gillingham at bottom of the table, as Benini points out. Charlton 0, Wigan 3, Fleetwood 3, Bury 2, Northampton 3, Portsmouth 1, Oxford 2, Bradford City 2, good point that for Oxford, Bristol Rovers 2, Oldham Athletic 3, great win that for Oldham, Plymouth 1, Blackpool 3, great performance there, 700 mile round trip, well worth it for the Blackpool fans. Rochdale 2, Doncaster 1, Rotherham 5, Walsall 1, Scunthorpe 0, Blackburn 1, kills me to say that, and Shrewsbury 1, Southend United 0, and that is League 1. And at the top of League 1 we've got at the moment we'll look, I'm sure you'll look at the league tables, and quickly we'll go for the results from League 2. Mansfield 0, Wickham 0, Accrington haven't got their first successive win, they've lost 2-1 to Grimsby Town tonight. Coventry 2, Carlisle 0, Crewe 0, Cambridge 1, Forest Green 0, Lincoln 1, good result for Danny Cowley's men. 2-0 Lincoln have won against Port Vale. Colchester and Chesterfield finished 1-1. Newport 1, Cheltenham 0, Notts County 1, Swindon Town 0, Stevenage 1, Crawley 1, Yeovil 2, Morecambe 2, and at the moment the leaders Exeter being held away at Barnet by 1-1. So that is the score. They are now, you're up to date with League 2. Just quickly, the National League before we go. We'll try and hear from Jose Mourinho in a second or two. I do apologise what goes on in the background. apologies for that. I do apologise. We've lost a little bit of sound. We're still waiting for possible an interview with Jose Mourinho. Gateshead 3, this is the National League. Gateshead 3, Chester 2, Barrow Guiseley 0-0, Dagenham 1, Sutton 2, Dover 0, Bournemouth 1, Eastleigh 0, Maidstone 1, Ebbsfleet 0, Aldershot 2, Bromley 3, Torquay 1, and the complete utter humiliation there, like Orient 0, Halifax 3, Mansfield 2, Fylde 1, Maidenhead 1, Tranmere Rovers 0, another bad result for former league club Tranmere Rovers. Woking 2, Solihull Moors 1, I should say, and it's finished Wrexham 0, Hartlepool 0. So that brings you up to date with all the scores from all the leagues tonight, including the National League. We are waiting to get an interview with Jose Mourinho. Remember, Manchester United have won 3-0 in our commentary game tonight, as we hope to get Jose Mourinho. It's now 5-10. We are coming off the air in about 5 minutes time, so hopefully we'll hear something from Jose Mourinho, but if not, I'm sure you'll hear it on the television screens in the next couple of days, all the interviews and that. But a brilliant performance there from Manchester United. They were simply superb from first whistle to the last. They were excellent. It was a joy to commentate on Manchester United again, twice in as many days we've had the opportunity. They were involved in that thriller at Stoke City, and again they've been involved in a fantastic performance. 3-0 winners. Looked absolutely convincing, I have to say, from first whistle to last, and we are still waiting to hear from Jose Mourinho. We've got about 4 minutes of the programme to go, and well, Birmingham City now in the bottom 3, but Leeds United now in the Championship have got an unbeaten record. But in Europe it's been a mixed night for British clubs. Manchester United, as we've heard, won 3-0 in the Champions League. Chelsea have put 6 past Karabag to win that game, and of course Celtic were humbled 5-0 by a very expensive PSG side who were just too good, I'm afraid, for the Scottish Premier League reigning champions there, I'm afraid. So not a good night for Celtic, but a great night for United, a great night for Chelsea. 3-0 winners and 6-0 winners respectively. So a great night for both those sides, as we try to hear. I don't know if we're going to get an interview with Mourinho. I'm sure we will in due course, but we are still waiting for that interview. And there is Mourinho. We're just looking at the shot of Mourinho. He's coming next, so we'll stay with it for the time being. But let's just bring you up to date with what's been happening in the world of football today before we bring you reaction from Mr. Mourinho. We will stay with Mourinho until the end. There's been some things going on here at the moment. Now, before we go on to the Crystal Palace thing, Michael O'Neill, in fact, has been arrested on suspicion of drink driving. In fact, he was detained by police on the outskirts of Edinburgh on Sunday. They charged a 48-year-old man in connection with drink driving eastbounding on the A720, and he's due to appear in the Sheriff's Court in Edinburgh just 2 days after Ireland's final World Cup qualifier against Norway. And in a statement, the Irish Football Association said it was aware of an alleged drink driving incident involving Michael O'Neill, and they've also added it was also a police matter and would make no further comment. Elsewhere, Roy Hodgson is the new Crystal Palace manager. He's been named Palace's new manager on a 2-year contract. He replaces Frank de Boer, who was officially sacked on Monday after just 77 days and just 5 games in charge. Ray Lewington has been named as his assistant. He worked with Roy Hodgson at Fulham and England. Roy has gone on and said that this was the club of his boyhood. It is very rewarding to find myself here now in different times, and as a manager at a club I've always loved and admired with huge potential. Now at 70 years and 34 days old, he is the oldest man ever to be appointed as a permanent manager in the Premier League. He also held talks with Leicester City earlier this year as a candidate to replace the sacked Claudio Ranieri, but actually spent the rest of the last season working as a consultant with Melbourne City down in Australia. He's been in football management for over 40 years. And I had dreams of playing for the team, then as a coach, and then you think about coaching the team, and a lot has happened in between time. So there is the thing. And we're still waiting to hear from Jose Mourinho. Ian Wright has had his say. You hope it's the right decision. It's a different Palace now. They're paying 100k a week. They have to stay in this league. Steve Parish is very knowledgeable about what he wants for the clubs. People are talking about Roy Hodgson's age, but he's got a love and passion for the game. He's not going to be there for the next 10 to 15 years. Steady, reliable, can get the dressing room going again. It's a good decision to get someone steady. The next few games will be difficult. You need someone with experience who won't panic. The next month will be a tough period for Palace. I don't think the continuous changing in the manner and the way in which they played is doing Panos any good. The only matter change for the better of the fans. They've gone to a different level. That should be enough to inspire the players, even though they don't like the managers, or the players really do have to look at themselves. So there we go. We are still waiting to hear from Jose Mourinho, but there are the two bits of news. So Roy Hodgson is the new manager. We are still waiting for Jose Mourinho. We will get that interview, and then we will wrap up the show at the end of the stream. We are still waiting along for that. But in the action we're tonight in the Champions League, it's the first time we've covered the group phase, and that was our maiden match, and Manchester United in our first match did not disappoint at all. 3-0 winners. They looked absolutely unstoppable, and now it's all about the Champions League for these big teams, and they've done terrifically well thus far. So we're going to hear from Mourinho before we leave you tonight, and as soon as we get him, as soon as he's on, we'll be going over to Old Trafford. We're going down to the tunnel area to Old Trafford, and Everton kick off their Europa League campaign against Atalanta in Italy, and Arsenal play Cologne in that Europa League. So some plenty of
against Cologne.
I apologise there for Lineker in the background. He wasn't meant to come on, but there we are. As soon as we get Mourinho, I will shut up and let Jose do the talking. So here he is now. Jose Mourinho is in the tunnel, and he's going to talk to the media now. Here he is, Mr. Mourinho.
Jose, you're off and running in the Champions League. Are you satisfied with that start?
Well, 3 points are important. When you start at home, the group phase to win is always important. I think until the second nil we played very stable, with confidence, with patience, with good choices, and we played, I would say, quite well. After the 2-0, I think everything changed. We stopped to play, we stopped to think, we stopped to play seriously, we stopped to make the right decisions on the pitch, and we could put ourselves in trouble, but they didn't score, and then the third goal came.
We saw you demanding more. Does stray passes go? Is that the kind of thing that was frustrating you?
Bad decisions, fantasy football, PlayStation football, tricks, and when you stop to play as a team, and when you stop to play seriously, I don't like, and you gamble a little bit. Probably the players, I felt that the game was under control with the 2-0, but football is football. You have to respect opponents.
Was this a chance then to open up a bigger gap, goal difference?
I don't know if the goal difference is going to play a part on it. It's not knockout. The 3 points are the most important thing. I just felt that after the 2-0, the decisions went completely in the wrong in the wrong direction. We lost position. We lost our shape. We lost too many balls in easy situations. I think the players relaxed too much, and I didn't like it. But overall, the performance was solid, and 3 points are really important for us.
Recently, you've been talking about Marouane Fellaini and how important he is to you. Did we see why tonight?
No, I keep saying the same and the same and the same. He's a player with special qualities. He does things that some of other players they cannot do it. He gives me a multiple area of actions and positions and philosophy on the pitch, and I would say that he's one of my most important players, even if sometimes I don't start matches with him.
And another individual to mention, Ashley Young came back in that reshuffled defence. Were you happy with him? Some great crosses in the first half.
Yeah, he did well, and it's quite trendy now. Teams playing with 5 defenders. Sometimes they like to say it's 3, but 3 I don't see anyone. I only see them with 5, and it's difficult. And Ashley gave us what Antonio would give us. I think they are both very, very good. But Antonio, as I was saying before the match, after playing Brazil, in Ecuador, in Stoke, 2 days after, I felt that Ashley could do the job perfectly, and he did it.
Just one sound now. How's Paul Pogba? It looked like a hamstring problem.
I don't know. It looks for me too, but I didn't speak yet with him or with the medical department. But the squad injuries, the squads are for suspension. We don't cry with injuries. We had yesterday a huge attack on some of our important players, and we didn't cry. We went all the way with the players available. So no Paul for Sunday. We have Herrera, we have Carrick, we have Fellaini, and we have Matic.
Thank you, Jose.
Thank you.
Well, there we go. That's the Mourinho verdict. So no Pogba for Everton on Sunday, but really amazing things for him to say that it was PlayStation football and all that. He wasn't entirely happy with the performance, but nevertheless, a great performance from Jose Mourinho's side tonight. Great result for Chelsea. Not such a great result, I'm afraid, for Celtic tonight. They have been beaten by Paris Saint-Germain. Also wins for Barcelona and for Sporting Lisbon. I hope very much you enjoyed our coverage, our commentary of the Champions League tonight. But it's Manchester United back in the Europe's Premier Club competition for the first time in about 18 months, and they've done it with goals from Fellaini, Rashford and Lukaku, who have set themselves up really nicely for the rest of the Champions League season. From me, JB, take care, and we'll see you very soon. We'll see you on Saturday for the Premier League game between Burnley and Liverpool. Until then, it's good night.